What's going on, you lot? What are you all saying? So as you all know, the Zhiyun Crane 2 has been on the market for about 3 or 4 months now, but people still seem to ask the question, hold on mate, how does the new Crane 2 compare to the old Crane V2? So I thought, you know what, I'll just make an old school comparison video. Yeah, tasty. But to make this even more interesting, I'm going to add a third gimbal. None other than the Moza Air. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yes. Well, it looks like it's a shootout.
The Richardsons were unexpectedly engaged, so we're going to look after you.
What is that?
Yeah, what do you think, Puff? It's a fucking tool.
No, it's not. It's a fucking rolling pin. What are you gonna do with that? You gonna bake me a cake? I come here for a fucking shootout, right? A proper shootout with some proper men. A shootout, right, is a fucking shootout! Like a western.
Alrighty then. Right, in that case then people, no messing about, let's get straight into it. So first up we have the Crane V2. The Crane V2 is a high quality build with the typical slick Zhiyun design. The V2 weighs in at 2.1 pounds with a payload of up to 4 pounds. It's got them naughty little Zhiyun graphics on the back. On the control panel, you can see the joystick, the mode button, the on-off button that also allows you to take pictures, and the zoom function. And the V2 has a slide-in base plate that allows you to adjust your camera on the fly. Lovely. Now let's have a little look in the box. So here we have your typical hard case box. Nice and solid and compact for easy travel. Inside we have a nice foam cut layout, and inside we have the crane itself, the pistol grip handle, 2 batteries, the charging hub, all of the little nuts and bolts for adding on larger lenses and things like that, and of course your cable. Next up we've got the Moza Air. Weighing in at 2.4 pounds with a payload of 5.5 pounds, the Moza Air comes in a very simple and minimalistic style. The key differences are that it has this nice rubber grip on the handle, which I do actually quite like. The Moza also has a screw mount that you can attach various accessories like microphones or monitors. The motors are a tiny bit larger than the Crane V2's motors, and it just has the 3 rails to mount your camera. On the controls, it just has the on and off button and also the joystick. You change the modes by clicking on the joystick. So onto the case. The Moza comes in a hard shell case, very similar to the Zhiyun Crane V2 case. It is quite a bit bigger than the V2 case, but there's a good reason for that. Inside the case, we have the gimbal itself, along with the pistol grip handle. We have the 3 batteries to power the gimbal. We also have the charging hub, all of the cables, any last few little nuts and bolts and lens mounting configurators. Is that even a word? And last but not least, it comes with the dual handles. And that is why the box is so much bigger. Next up, we've got the Crane 2. The Crane 2 has an extremely high quality build, and I would definitely say it's the most beastie out of the 3. Weighing in at 2.8 pounds with a payload of 7 pounds, this allows for much larger camera, lens, microphones configurations to fit onto this gimbal. You'll find that the grip is a little bit thicker than the other 2. Obviously we've got them naughty little Zhiyun graphics on the back. We've got the OLED display with the focus ring on the left hand side. We've got the joystick, and also we've got the menu dial. One of my favourite features about the Crane 2 is the fact that it has a Manfrotto standard base plate. This allows you just to whip off your camera and whip it onto another Manfrotto product, which most rigs have nowadays. The Crane 2 is slightly heavier than the other 2, which allows it that much more stability. Onto the case. So as you can see, the Crane 2 case is very different from the V2 and the Moza. The Crane 2 comes in a soft shell case, which is definitely a lot more comfortable and a lot lighter, but I can tell you that it does not limit on protection. Trust me. It's got a very slick carbon fibre look design, and when you see it, you do think, hold on a sec, someone's gonna whip out something proper naughty here. So let's get inside. Inside the case, you have the crane itself. This comes in one piece and doesn't break down into two like the V2 and the Moza. It comes with this lovely little aluminium tripod, the 3-way charging hub, the 3 batteries to power the gimbal, a box with the cables for the gimbal to camera configurations, and lastly, the last few little nuts and bolts and lens mount. Now, I know what you're all thinking, come on James mate, we just want to see some footage. Can we just get some footage? Here we go. So as you can see, I've got my favourite actress in again. She never fails to amaze me with her acting skills. Honestly, unbelievable, mate. For those of you who don't know, this is my dog Tilly, and here she goes busting a load of naughty moves. So right off the bat, I didn't notice a massive difference between the 3 gimbals when you're doing slow tracking movements. All 3 seem to hold up really, really well. But it wasn't until we done the running shots that I really noticed that the Crane 2 really stepped up the pace. But nonetheless, the Zhiyun Crane V2 and the Moza Air done a really, really good job in these running scenes. I was proper gunning for it there. My dog's like 13 years old. She's nearly had one, mate, but she done alright. But on a serious note, the Crane 2 did outperform the 2 other gimbals at this point. I think it's just the fact that the motors are that much stronger and the gimbal is just a little bit heavier that allows that much more stabilisation in intense movements. So out of the 3 gimbals, I'm going to have to say that the Crane 2 outperformed the V2 and the Moza Air. Right, so let's come to a bit of a conclusion here, yeah? And let's be completely honest, yeah? All 3 are pretty bloody decent. Performance-wise, the Crane 2 outperforms both of the other 2 gimbals. I'm going to keep this for all of my high-end client work and use it when I really need that good quality stabilisation without kind of having the portability of one of these 2. So let's talk about the Moza Air. I did like this rubber handle. It actually come in handy and felt really nice. One of the things I don't like about it, which is exactly the same on the V2, it still has these circular nut tighteners. Whereas on the Crane 2, we've got these bolts that are nice and easy to move and tighten. Also, I love the fact that you can get the dual handles with the Moza Air, but I don't like the fact that the box is so big. And also, I'm not massively keen on the charger. The charger is just way too big for what it needs to be, although I do like the fact that the USB cable is integrated on the back. The foam on the box definitely could have been a little bit higher quality, but it does what it needs to do at the end of the day. So onto the Crane V2, I love the sliding base plate. I think it's just so handy for when you're balancing your camera. The knobs on the side, again, I don't like them as much as I do on the Crane 2. I'm not a massive fan of tweaking knobs, to be honest, but the knobs on the Crane 2, I could probably tweak all day. I much prefer the charger for the Crane V2 over the Moza Air because when you're traveling, you don't want to be taking too much gear. But all in all, I'm kind of 50-50 with the Moza and the V2. The Crane V2 is obviously lighter than the Moza Air, so it depends what you value. Do you value portability or do you value maximum performance? Now for me, it's a bit of both. I want to be doing high level productions for my clients, and then when I go away on trips, I just want to be as minimal, as light, run and gun as I possibly can. So people, that concludes my little comparison of these naughty gimbals. All of them are decent, I'm not gonna lie, but I am gonna be sticking with the Crane 2 for all of my high level productions, and then one of these 2 for my traveling trips. Not quite sure yet. But people, thank you for watching this video. I hope it helped you out to decide what gimbal you want to go for. I've already done a full review on the Crane 2. I'll leave that in the description below so you can go and check that out. But that's it from me, people. Peace.